Hey folks, I guess it's some sort of vicious cycle in terms of my inability to achieve some monumental breakthrough in terms of YouTube, but I seem to be going round and round, increasingly finding people of all walks of life matching up for dialogue or describing one thing or another in terms of what martyrdom there is here or there or all around. I think the chief martyrdom, or the martyrdom in chief, is Trump, persecuted in all these court cases and yet about to be reelected, they say. Another martyr would be Joe Biden and his effort to fall on his sword, in some gallant martyrdom or gallant move to make way for somebody else. I don't know who, because then there's a third party candidate. Almost always a third party candidate is a martyr. And then there's everyday life. In a granular way, I've heard some outrageous arguments about the tragedy being reported in the Middle East these days, and for that matter, Eastern Europe. The martyrs of war, numerous to say the least. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether I'm somehow sensitized to what I'm watching differently for some reason, or whether there really are more people talking about things, taking a fall, for example, a debate between eminent scholars where one kind of rolls over for the other for the sake of a point that is being made at someone's expense, on a voluntary basis, at someone's expense. It seems to be happening among scholars, debaters. Just seems to be a lot of martyrdom, and I'm really wondering, how could I possibly hold such an impression, or how is it I've gotten such an impression? It seems so strange, because normally, and it's abnormal, it's enough to make me want to, stay in my room, frankly. Normally it seems like a battle between near equals that never, ever settles anything and reduces every debate, every opportunity to debate, to the simplest possible talking points, a race to the bottom, down to whether or not cover-up paid to a porn star made by Trump should disqualify him from becoming president. That's the kind of issue that we have these days. And then what? Martyrdom about that. Although, some would say, well, if he smokes a cigarette, he's a sinner, or whatever. But my point is, I would say in the last year, maybe the last 6 months, maybe one or two or three or four people who seem either voluntarily or involuntarily a martyr, have sensitized me to see even more doing the same thing. In other words, pattern recognition is, shall we say, a volatile thing. If you see a certain tiny little coincidence, then you might be likely to look for that same pattern, and you seek and ye shall find, So I don't know if I've seen just a few, and then I've just been sensitive to that and seen more, then that would explain how I found myself saying, gosh, seems like martyrdom is quite the currency of the day. Which is not exactly, I think, really the best way to proceed. With all due respect for the romantics or any others, on the other hand, there are those who kind of bulldoze their way, but even they end up being martyrs eventually in terms of the classic description or something. I think maybe if everybody who agrees that there are too many martyrs that are getting a lot of attention, maybe we should look for alternatives. Now that I can think of some, I hope you know who you are and whether the shoe fits or the flip-flops or army boots or galoshes or or for that matter just anything like that. If the shoe fits, wear it is all I was going to say. But anyway, you know who you are. You're not necessarily martyrs. You work hard, and I'd like to say you work hard and play hard. Although maybe some people don't like that idea. But maybe you work hard and then you can relax, and then do it all over again. Now, if that's martyrdom, then where are we headed? We're headed for the doleful, sometimes traditional outlook on life that life itself is a chore, and we should be stoic about how terrible it all is until it's over. Well, I just recently, what was it? I think it was a video about capital punishment. It was saying that somebody who had no possibility of parole tends to degenerate, decay behind locked doors. But that someone, even on death row, if he has some hope of something beyond being locked up, actually often will get ready and prepare himself and be better for the day when his appeal is heard and he's off death row or whatever. But it's only the one who has no hope who has a difficult time. So there are those who are born into the world, and they basically by inclination and or some sort of cultural influence, they think, well, this is hell on earth, and so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy or whatever. Well, I know, I'm convinced that people who have no rational basis for hope needn't worry about self-improvement or maintenance or anything else. There are too many instances of that. Whereas those, for example, I think the most amazing example is the people who made it through the Holocaust. The nightmare that they survived so that they could resume life, something worthwhile on the other side. Of course, that presumes that they had some reasonable expectation on the other side. They knew they might not make it. That was possible too. But they did believe that if they did make it through the nightmare, that life would be worth living on the other side of World War II and the Holocaust and so on. Without that, look at this situation, the stereotype. I don't mean to harm anybody by saying this. I hope people understand that. But a stereotype of the Native Americans having lost their land, sometimes lost their culture, lost all but subsistence. They're on a reservation. They can't afford much, but they just become alcoholic. Why? They have no hope. Everything's been taken from them, and they're not the only who have felt that way. All through history, there have been people who've suffered that way. I can't solve any of those problems. We're entering into an electoral thing here, the exercise culminating in an election in November, and then what? The scramble after that, to put into place what has been promised, and some things that were never promised, and for a bunch of promises to be broken, and so on. And others say, wait till next year, or 4 years from now, or whatever. All that's underway. For some, that's a way to organize their lives. Frankly, I think too many people organize their lives around all that, because in terms of the race to the bottom, in terms of debates or speeches or anything else, I'll just say it's rather rudimentary and primitive. And some say, well, no, what I have said, meet people where they are. I'm in favor of that, but when you meet people where they are, I think it's important to know where you've met them and where you might go from there, if that might indeed be of utmost importance. But I just thought I'd raise the issue, particularly at this time, when maybe it's kind of strange that so many people are thinking in terms of martyrdom. That's like futility, isn't it? Not necessarily. I think some martyrs experience their own personal futility, unless they believe that when they immolate themselves on a street in Vietnam, that they will hasten the day when people take notice about the crimes being committed in Vietnam. Well, I think that at least one of those immolations made a difference. And in Tunisia, same thing. That's pretty damn hardcore, desperate, and so on. I don't know. I tend to believe in moderation, generally. Maybe that's one reason, people think I'm boring. That's okay. I stay in my room because of what people think. Maybe that's not what they think. But anyway, I tend to, want not to see things, the pendulum swing, swing all the way to what? Everybody's a martyr, or if you're not a martyr, you're not worth anything. A martyr in chief as of November, or what? I don't know. Or the other way, heroes, people who don't seem to be martyrs at all, but they are, have a golden chariot and a sword or something, I don't know who that would be, Joan of Arc or something. Although, as you know, Joan of Arc was captured and she died a miserable death like so many. I don't know. So what I end up saying is, so often don't I, that for me, to watch people going about their successful lives makes a big difference, rather than arguing and haranguing people like politicians do, Not everybody should shut up. I'm a great advocate of, free speech. I'm not in favor of slander and libel and defamation, stuff like that, but some people try to stifle free speech as if they will decide all about that, which is ironic. Some of them openly admit that they know what they're doing, and the irony isn't lost, to say the least. But my point is, thank you for the good videos, and maybe I'll see some. And then I guess there may be some updates around here. I can't say for sure. A lot of problems. All right, that's 15, almost 16 minutes, and I don't know when a trip to the ER is likely, but there's not much I can say about whether I will or won't. If I have my druthers, I'd see a good doctor fairly soon. But if I ask to see a doctor, there's no way to know whether he'll be a good one, and I haven't had a very good experience with any doctor in a long time. That's not particularly unusual anymore. Bye for now.